It's finally December and my stash of teh botol is almost gone. It's time for a new poison. Let's go! In today's episode of the Super Chong Show, we take a look at one of the latest creations from Tangzu, the Ze Tian Wu. Honestly, it's quite uncomfortable to call it the Ze Tian Wu, as in Chinese names, the family names usually supersede one's name, so technically it's called the Wu Ze Tian. Anyways, the Wu Ze Tian is named after one of the rare empresses in China. Now, I'm quite excited about this pair of IEM. The Ze Tian Wu houses a 14.5 planar magnetic driver, quite a large one at that. The chassis of the IEM is 3D printed that is matched to a purple faceplate that features a rather cool motif. Overall, the chassis does remind me of another German-made IEM that I reviewed just a few months earlier. The chassis is quite light and very comfortable to wear for long hours. The shape on the chassis is also very comfortable. Ergonomics on this pair is rather well thought out. Now, the IEM comes in a 2-pin configuration that is matched with a 5N oxygen-free copper cable. My unit here is terminated to a 4.4mm termination, and quality of the cable is actually really nice considering the price of the IEM. The Ze Tian Wu comes with quite an array of accessories as well. The IEM carrying case here is a rather large red one, and if you use it, you probably require quite a bit of back real estate. It also comes with 3 pairs of balance tips, 3 pairs of tips that boost bass, and 1 pair of very questionable foam tips. Now, in terms of sound, the Wu Ze Tian is a V-shaped IEM with a slightly more emphasized bass section. So for those of you who like genres like EDM or anything that tries on the pulse of the bass, rejoice, because you will like this IEM. I do think that the Wu Ze Tian should work very well with most genres of music, with some exceptions. Bass on the Wu Ze Tian is like that of a humping dog, one that has endless energy. There is quite a large emphasis on bass, especially with the sub-bass section, with just the mid-bass tapering off slightly. I really enjoy the rumble that kick drums produce. With every kick, there is a very natural resonant bass that follows along. There is also enough mid-bass to contour the sound of the sub-bass, giving it added definition and shape. Sub-bass also does go low, which is fantastic. But I do not think that the bass on this IEM is perfect. You do get a very good feel of the bass as mentioned previously, but what I find lacking was the fine details in this section. Lacking in fine articulation in the bass section would be a more apt description. Upon critical listening, I've always felt I wanted a bit more detail, especially in the lower regions. Speed on the bass is decent, but I would not say that it is fast. Midrange is a little bit recessed, but this is pretty much typical of such signatures. To me, it's quite natural sounding with just a kiss of warmth. Vocals are articulate with good weight. There is surprisingly a good level of detail when it comes to vocals. It also remains quite separate despite having such elevated levels of bass. You do get quite a bit more nuance in the vocals. This is even more evident in songs where bass is not present. Overall, Midrange is very natural sounding with a hint of airiness despite having a bass-dominant sound. Treble on the Wu Ze Tian is surprisingly airy. It isn't quite bogged down by the quantity of bass. Treble extension is okay and definitely enough for the Wu Ze Tian to have a slightly airy edge. Crashes and cymbals are creamy sounding but have enough bite for it to be interesting. I have not encountered sibilance with the Wu Ze Tian. Now, in terms of soundstage, width and height, the Wu Ze Tians are decent in terms of depth and weight. Positioning and depth on the other hand, I also think that they are really decent, but what affects this would be the rather average speed on bass that isn't quite fast enough to allow you to have pinpoint positioning and therefore affecting depth as well. Nonetheless, it's still an enjoyable listen. And finally, in conclusion, the Wu Ze Tians are a fun V-shaped IEM that will suit listeners who favour listening to the beat over those looking for absolute fine details. It still remains a truly engaging listen. I just wish that the bass was a little bit cleaner in execution, and because of this, it should work well with most genres with the exception of classical. Other than that, this is on the whole one that's easy to recommend. It has a signature that will please most people and isn't very polarizing. If you like the content so far, please press the like and subscribe button down below, as it will help me out a tremendous bunch. Also, next week there will be probably no new episode of the Super Chunk Super Audio Show because I will be in Japan and I will be probably meeting another rather popular YouTuber there. I'm very excited. I'm not sure what we're gonna do, but we are definitely meeting each other. With that said, thank you guys for watching the Super Chunk Super Audio Show. I hope to see you guys very, very soon. And if there's anything you want me to review or talk about, please leave them in the comment section down below. For every like that you like, I'll drink a gulp of water. So save me from dehydration. Bye guys!